Dude, it's been a while.
It's been
It's
a
been what,
while.
since May?
Yeah.
Since May.
Dude, this
And
year's gone fast.
we're already in November. I turn 22 next week. Well, actually, not
Dude.
even next week. It's this Sunday. So
Oh,
basically
okay.
next week.
What, the 12th?
Yep.
Nice. Hell yeah,
That
man.
would that would be my birthday.
Awesome.
So a lot has been happening since May. A lot of tournaments, a lot of traveling, a lot of stuff,
NSL is
lot of
going
battles.
off.
A lot of
Yeah.
battles. New NSL season dropped. Got the whole schedule. It's a handful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you've been busy, man. I just saw an NSL post, I think it was last week, something about on their Instagram, something about how far they've come. They didn't
Right.
expect, to be where they're at now and that kind of thing. So it's pretty
hmm
cool.
So with NSL, if you didn't see, pretty sure you saw all those posts where Bert stepped down, Five stepped up as new CEO of
Yeah.
Monk and the NSL organization. Adam, Baby Goat, the coach slash captain for Tacos, the coach for Team USA, is now the head representative of NSL America. So he's dealing with all the American stuff, and Fives is overseeing Europe and the rest of NSL itself. It's interesting how NSL is set up for next season, and the schedule's dropped. 3 events at Extreme on the East Coast.
Nice.
Then we got I didn't look at the West Coast. I'm sure a bunch of it's at Sac County, mostly Sac County. And then the U.S. National Championships is held at Sac County as well.
Mm-hmm.
Sadly, Tampa did not get any
Oh,
events.
really? CIA
Didn't
Tampa?
get any events.
Okay.
Very, very disappointing. But
How does that process work?
so, from what I've gathered and from what I've been told, that NSL pretty much picked the fields based on team prevalence, like the player count that's there, how many teams are going to be able to show up, is there a guaranteed amount of teams that are going to show up at these events, is it financially viable? And apparently CIA didn't check the boxes for NSL. I'm pretty sure it would have. We definitely could have got the teams to show up,
Yeah.
but there was just little faith, and there was no. They deemed us as a risk, and it's kind of a kick in the pants. But hey, you can't really dwell on it too much. It is what it is, and you can't really change their decision.
So it's
Because we've
it's got to
tried.
be So one of those things is obviously they they have to guarantee a certain amount of teams there,
Pretty
or
much.
else you don't have a tournament, right?
hmm
Yeah. Okay.
Because the way it's set up is that the top 6 teams from East and West Coast divisions are going to be qualified for the U.S. National Championships in Sac County. So, with all of the events at Rhode Island, they're pretty much guaranteed to have those 6 teams, regardless of what happens, and they're going to get the turnout that they want. Whether that be in one whole event or across all 3. Who knows how that's going to happen? Time will tell.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's been some negative backlash from other teams just not really backing NSL anymore. Pretty sure Elite's not going to play NSL anymore. I don't think Murder Inc. is going to play NSL anymore.
Oh, there's some
I hope they do.
well-known
Hope they
teams.
change
Yeah.
their mind. Yeah. Some of the big dogs are just dropping out. They just don't support the league anymore.
Yeah.
And they're supporting the more American-made leagues such as CSL, Speaky
CSL.
Beep.
Yep.
CSL, there's a big, big opportunity for CSL this upcoming season. Keegan has been putting in the work, kind of restructuring how tournament airsoft is going to kind of turn out next year, and like a pre sign up for the entire season. You sign up, you register your team, and you get put on these slots to play these teams in these given times, and either show up or you don't. It's pretty cool. It's like he's trying to structure it like actual professional sports.
Yeah.
And it's actually one of the steps that we need to take if we want to take the sport to a professional level. It's exciting stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, setting up a schedule, that's probably the biggest thing with tournaments. From what I've heard is, well, like what you just said about the, certain venues getting slotted for tournaments. It's, they're, for that business to stay in business, it's got to make money.
Right.
If they're going to close down on one of their busiest days, like a Saturday, to host a tournament, they've got to have some kind of guarantees to,
Right.
Participation.
And that was one thing that we kind of saw in the CSL All-Star Tournament. Just briefly, when we went up there, it was me, Mikey, and Anthony. We went up there to watch the 5v5 championship, the national championship, which Murder Inc. East won. Like, shout out to them. Really good group of guys. And then afterwards, us three were representing the Southeast and the CSL All-Star Tournament, which was like Keegan's fun tournament that he wanted to put together. So we put that together, and apparently it's like it seemed like it wasn't supposed to happen from how the field owner took it. So we were playing on their speed field for a good chunk of time, and then before we could finish the tournament, they had to cut it early because people wanted to play on the speed field when we were playing, like doing this tournament. We couldn't really finish it out. So we just kind of called it and said, we did it.
Yeah.
Oh well. But it was a fun event overall. Just like stuff like that tying into field owners kind of having to make that decision whether to sacrifice a day of heavy earnings for a tournament. Is there a guarantee that the teams are going to be able to show up? Are they going to be able to profit from these teams being there and the right amount of teams showing up? Or are they going to be at a loss? Just some things to consider, and going all the way back to Tampa not being selected as one of the venues to support to host NSL tournaments this season. That was probably one of the things that crossed Fives' mind when choosing venues. I'm sure he wasn't the only person that that made that call, but
Well, I wonder how they do it in Europe for the NSL, because seems like they have some dedicated fields that are set up tournament style that they don't really have to move barriers or anything that. Like, these are dedicated to these tournaments.
Right. So Real Strike Arena is the one tournament arena that every European team travels to play in these tournaments. It is the home stadium, if you will, for NSL. And those barriers, once they're placed, once that field layout is set, it doesn't change until the end of the season. And the other field isn't in the Netherlands. It's actually in Spain. I forget where it is. It's like Raptor. It's called Raptor Airsoft Arena. That's where they hosted their Spain NSL League.
Yeah.
Because Spain has a whole team. They're a really, really cool group of guys. Met them when we traveled to Europe.
Yeah, there's been a handful of people that I've met recently that were in Brazil and Spain. That I found them on Instagram. They found me on Instagram through somebody else I followed or whatever.
Hmm.
You know, I've reached out. I reach out to a lot of different people in different countries, especially to see if they want to come on here. And a lot of times it's a language barrier, but I really want to figure out this issue. I want to figure out a smooth way to have some kind of translator in the group with us. Yeah, I don't know how it would work out. Where
Like a three-way almost.
yeah, a three-way, have a third person in here. Just yeah, I don't know how smooth the conversation would go because I don't really, these are really kind of like real basic conversations. I
Right.
don't have a list of questions. It's not like an interview.
It's a flow. It's a flow thing.
It's a flow, yeah. So it seems like it would be
They would just be
difficult.
waiting for you to ask questions. I feel like for those
Yeah,
kinds of calls, I feel as if having questions written, just some basic questions to
yeah,
get them to start talking,
yeah.
would be a good baseline. Because
Hmm.
since there is some sort of language barrier, there isn't any sort of smooth conversation. There's going to be a lot of bumps in the road, and the
Uh huh.
translator's going to have to stop and start talking, and from here to there to you.
Yeah. Right.
There's
Yeah.
like that phone game or whatever, where you like whisper in somebody's ear and then you have to
Uh
pass it
huh.
all the way down.
Yep.
Forgot what that's called, but
Telephone. I think it is called telephone.
telephone, yeah.
Uh huh.
So that would be pretty cool. And one thing that surprised me the most, as far on the topic of language barriers, when I traveled to Europe to play for Team USA, I traveled with Anthony and Zion. Zion is a friend of mine that's been playing with me for close to my entire airsofting career. Kind of brought me up and everything, and he eventually made his way onto Obey and was picked to go to Nations Cup along with myself, Anthony, and Mikey. But Mikey unfortunately couldn't go because his passport never came on time. And the day we
Mm.
were supposed to leave for our flight, he got his passport.
Oh my God.
It just happened like that. It was so bad and so devastating for him. I mean, it was very sad. And we wish we could have had him there too, because it was going to be his
Right.
birthday. We were going to celebrate his birthday over there. We had it all planned out, but just things didn't go to according to plan, and it just happened like that. But we make it over to the Netherlands, and when we get to Real Strike, everybody's speaking English. Everybody. I'm talking the. I mean, when they're talking with each other, they're speaking native
Hmm.
Dutch. They're speaking Dutch.
Yeah.
But all these Dutch guys are speaking English like just fine. There's no sort of. I mean, if you're using slang, they're like, "What is that?" But their English is good. The Even people from Belgium, their English is good. Germany, France, Portugal, even some of the Spaniards, they are really, really good at speaking English.
Hmm.
And we had no problems communicating with one another. And it was actually really, really cool because you couldn't just sit there like, what are these guys saying? They're trying to talk to me and they don't know they don't know what to say because they don't speak English. But it wasn't like that, and it was really cool.
That is
But
cool.
the event itself was really fun. It we played the national anthem. All the teams got their national anthems. Did you
Oh,
watch
that's
the
cool.
Nations Cup? Did you watch the Nations Cup live
No,
stream?
huh?
So each team got their national
Wasn't this
anthem.
was this August?
This was in July,
Oh, July.
the
Okay.
last
Yeah.
week of July. That last weekend, it's a 3-day event: Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and it was an event of a lifetime. Honestly, I so lucky to get that opportunity. You can see a little bit of the USA banner up in the top left corner of my screen. Got it hanging up there. But we played friendly matches first, like on that Thursday. Houston Heat flew out too. So Houston Heat flew out there. So Marky from HK, and then one of his reps, Mr. French, and then he brought Chad, he brought Ronnie. I think that was it. He could only bring those two. So it was him, Chad, and Ronnie that came from Houston Heat. And then Rex, which was one of the guys that is out in Europe. He played with Houston Heat when they played a debut match against S2N, which was very, very interesting to watch because, like, behind the scenes, Bert was like, just put on a show. Like, relax on the rules. Just put on a show.
Yeah.
And I posted some of the third-person footage on my YouTube channel, and you can just see crazy overshooting. Like, when Rex was playing, like, Rex was playing against S2N, and those guys, like, were, like, hating on each other.
Yeah.
Just so much shit talk. Just the birds were flying all over the place. Like, shooting people as they're walking off the field. 100 BBs
Nice.
hitting them. I'm just like, oh my gosh. Bunch of taunting after the flag hangs, like doing dances and stuff. Take the L's. I'm like,
oh, that's cool.
oh my gosh. But we didn't know what was going on up top from the stands at first.
Yeah.
We thought this was organic. We thought this was like, is this really how these, like, the best team in Europe is playing right now?
Yeah.
Is this how they're acting? But it turned out to be just a show.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, oh, okay, makes sense.
Gotcha.
And then some of their team is Belgium, like from Belgium. And like Junkie, S2N Junkie, Demi, and his brother Elias.
Right.
And then a couple of other of his teammates. They form Team Belgium. And they're absolutely unbeatable. They're beatable, but they're not at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, they're really good, really coordinated. And they ended up winning the entire event. In USA, we got third place.
Nice.
We lost to the Netherlands in the semifinals. We could have beat the Netherlands. We could have beat those guys, but we figured them out too late.
Okay.
And we beat Portugal for our third place game, 14-0.
Okay.
And our experience overall was just top notch. We had our teams that made up Team USA were Obey, East Coast Energy, and Tacos mainly. And then we had Asylum, Raven. Shout out to my boy Raven. And we had the coach, Adam, who's technically Tacos, and his wife, Nikki.
Oh, okay.
So from Obey, it was me, Anthony, and Zion. Then from East Coast, we had Tristan. We had Zeus, which is Nick. We had TJ. So those three. Then we had from Tacos, we had Sweeney. We had Miles. Those are two. The Day Twins. Those two are a trip. Very funny kids. They're the youngest kids out there. They were balling. They were really funny to hang out with. And then we had Cringe, who's on Saviors in the Netherlands. He's an American who lives in the Netherlands, who's got his Dutch citizenship and all that fun stuff.
Okay.
Citizen. His dad moved out there for work a long time ago, and he moved out there and just got citizenship.
Nice.
And he's really a really, really solid player. He was one of our captains, one of our team captains. We had two team captains, TJ, then we had Cringe. We had team 1, team 2, and then we just kind of flip-flopped.
Yeah.
If one team had something going, then that team would go like team 1, and then team 2 would go out. And then if we got a mojo, I was part of team 2, we go and try to put some work in.
Yeah.
And it played well. We beat a lot of teams. We lost twice. We were top of our group stage, pretty much. In our group stage, we only lost to Belgium. We knocked out a lot of teams. Beat Germany. Had some key plays against Germany.
Nice.
Beat Spain. Beat Italy. Beat Romania. Beat France. Kicked France out. That was fun. We defeated the British again, if you know what I mean. That was a fun game. Beating the British.
Right. That's
we had that mentality. It's like they're not going to take our independence not here.
Right, and it's in July.
Right, so
that's funny.
It was only right to beat them, but majority of the games that we played, like there were no, from what I recall, nothing was crazy questionable. What it all boiled down to was just keeping our heads in the game and not really sticking to game plans here and there.
Yeah.
Kind of just falling apart in certain situations when we shouldn't have. But overall, everybody played really well. And hopefully, with how things are going in the direction of NSL right now, we should be able to do it again. But this time, a lot more nations are reaching out to fives to try to get a reserve seat.
Okay.
I mean, I can't say, I'm not supposed to say who, but there's a lot more.
Well, how many were there this past time?
There were 12 nations,
okay,
including the United States.
Mm-hmm.
So we had 3 groups, 4, 4, and 4, across the group stages, and we made it all the way to semifinals and got 3rd place. So we got a trophy. We got some hardware to bring back home.
Nice.
A little bronze. We got our team names and our individual names laser engraved, courtesy of Nick from East Coast Energy.
Nice.
They got a laser engraving machine at their facility in Rhode Island, and they put our names on there. It's pretty cool.
That is cool.
Nice little piece. It's up there. If you ever go to Extreme, you're going to see it in their trophy case. Sitting right in there.
Yeah.
The one thing I didn't do, though, was get my banner signed. I didn't get that signed by anybody. But I got a jersey, got a headband. That's just some pieces. Be like, oh, I did that. And it's all on YouTube. If you're ever interested and you got free time to go watch that trip, it's pretty much recorded, the behind the scenes. I can't really record, you can't record the gameplay.
Right.
So it's all basically vlog stuff with all the American guys over in Europe for the first time together. And the biggest roadblock that we all thought when going over there, because you got to think about this. We just played each other in the U.S. National Championships weeks prior to this event.
Right.
All rivals. Obey got 4th place in that event. East Coast Energy got 1st place. Elite got 2nd place. Tacos got 3rd place. So we were top 4 in that tournament. Before I get into that, there's the Nations Cup stuff on the topic of the U.S. National Championships.
Yeah.
I got some really cool stuff that I want to share about that event. The event itself, we Obey traveled by car.
Okay.
Most of us did. So I traveled
from Florida
to Rhode Island.
Yeah.
26-hour road trip.
That's a long trip, bro.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
We had myself, Xavier, Dom, Garrett, Andrew, and Mikey. And then we picked up Zion on the way up through Georgia, because that's where he lives. So we picked him up through there. And then we get there after 26 hours of driving. We meet everybody there. We go in, connect, do all that fun stuff, and play some friendly matches, get warmed up. We get the game plan, and then we start playing. Then the tournament day starts. Our group stage was like almost flawless. We were 6-1 in the group stage going into the finals. We were top seed in that event.
Yeah.
Going into the finals day, the championship Sunday, what I like to call it. We lost to Elite. And then we start playing on championship Sunday. We win our first couple games. We play off the grid. We play NGSS. Beat those two. And then we play Tacos. So Tacos gets us down. So we're 10. So they're 10 up. We got no points. We hold them until the last 30 seconds of the game. We have the flag in our hands. So it's me, Canyon, Zion, Logan, and Dom for our 5 guys on the wall against Tacos at the last 30 seconds. They picked up a game-altering penalty, which gave us this 30 seconds. So they got a penalty the round previous.
Yeah.
Somebody just honked a train horn. That was kind of weird. Inside my house. Wow, that was weird.
I didn't hear it.
Good, because that was loud. But we're on the wall. We know what we're going to do. The game plan was to push down the field as fluidly as possible and not die.
Yeah.
We want to have all of our guys up before the game, like before the first 10 seconds is up. So it's time to play. So the horn blows. It's me and Zion. We run down the center of the field. Do you remember how the field was set up?
Mm-hmm.
So that center barrier.
Yeah.
So we double up on that center barrier, and then we have 2 guys on that plexi side of the field.
On the plexi.
So we had Logan and Dom on that side of the field, and then we had Canyon in the snake side alone. He's holding it down. Zion and I, we all make it out alive. We all make it out the breakout alive. We start dropping bodies. Zion gets picked up trying to run around the center. And then the last guy alive was Trafton, 916. He was at their Aztec, which is that plexi side Dorito, whatever.
Okay.
I rush around. We trade out. And then Logan's just running past me with the flag. He smacks on the wall. There's like around 10 seconds left in the game. And it was like less than 10 seconds left in the game. There was no way they were winning. And we ended up winning that in the last 30
that's
seconds.
Crazy. How many points you get for the
we got
for
12. We
Okay.
got 12 points. Because it was the first try. Because it was a turnover. When they got that game altering penalty, it was like switch possessions type thing. So when that happened, we were able to get possession and do damage. So we're like, okay, we just did that. And then we beat East Coast Energy. And then we're like, okay, who's next? Elite. And then in our heads, we're like, man, why do we have to play Elite? They always beat us. But then there's also the caveat to that where it's like, well, they're just our friends, right? They're like, yeah, they're just our friends. Who cares? It's Elite. Who cares if they win? When I know damn well them, they're cool guys. There's no disrespect. This is just the way that I know this is how it is. It's like, we need to put those guys in the dirt. I know that's their mentality. It's like, let's put these guys in the fucking dirt.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's how I am with them when it's on the field. Like, off the field, it's all cool. But when it's time to get on the field, it's war.
Oh, yeah. Right.
That's how you have to think about it. We're going into battle. And those 100%. Are the enemy. We have to destroy them. So we crumble every single time we play Elite, and it's not even funny. It's like we don't even know how we're playing Airsoft. We don't even know how to play Airsoft when we play Elite.
Oh, that's wild. It's like one of those mental things for that team.
It's all a mental struggle.
Yeah.
So we lose to Elite. It's time to play for third place.
Yeah.
Because the first and second place game was Elite versus ECE. And we're playing tacos. And one key detail that I didn't mention throughout this entire tournament is that we had players that were getting injured and dropping like flies. Dom broke his foot.
Oh my God.
Sparky broke his toe and dislocated his shoulder.
Holy
Shane's
cow,
shoulder was torn. Ant's shoulder was popped out of place and he had to go to the hospital.
Jeez.
So, and Mason, during the tacos game, got shot in his hand and like it with a gun that was shooting over like real hot. And he was telling it was hurting him to the point where he couldn't play anymore. So the last few people standing, when it was all said and done, after we were getting stomped by tacos during this third place match, morale was low, keep in mind.
Yeah, right.
Me, Logan, Steve, and then Sparky. Sparky kept playing.
Okay.
So it was us four. And when this happened, we're sitting there, and they're taunting us like crazy. Canyon gets a first degree because his gun was shooting 1.12 joules.
Instead of 1.1?
1.1. Because they did a random chrono test after Mason got shot in his hand. Started crying.
Oh, okay.
So we're down to four of us, and one of our guys off the field, as a captain, is like, let's just forfeit. And I'm on the wall ready to play. We're down 10 again. We're down 10. Remember the last 30 seconds of that tacos game when we beat them?
Right.
When we were down 10? Where's the same stuff? Where's that mentality?
So why would somebody suggest a forfeit?
To this day. I'm on the wall, and then Anthony, this day, Anthony's out of the hospital. He's just in his sling. He's just yelling at people from the sidelines. Anthony's like, get off the field. We're not playing these guys anymore, blah, blah. And I'm like, what? So I'm still on the wall. They're about to call buzzer. Like, they're about to start the game. And everybody went off the wall back into the pits besides me. And then Ant came out, grabbed me, and, like, forced me back into the pits. And I'm just like, what is going on? And everybody's like, oh, they're cheating, this, that, and the other. And they're like, oh, we don't want to quit. We want to give up because we don't want to play these guys. This is just bad on them. We're not going to support this, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, were they caught cheating or something?
It's always like that anyways. Just the accusation stuff.
Oh, yeah. Gotcha.
But I went up to the source, and I was like, look, we have trained for damn near close to a year for this event. And you just want to quit?
Right.
It's like, I will not allow that. And he's like, you might want all of us not to play, but I am going to go out there and I'm going to do my absolute best to make sure that they can't score any other points. And we're going to go out there and prove the point that we're not going to quit in times of adversity. And we're going to show these people, well, if we're going to lose, it's not going to be our respect. We're not going to lose respect.
For sure.
So we're going to go out there and we're going to play honorably, and we're going to go out there and we're going to win their respect. So that's exactly what we went out there and did. So I went out there by myself. I told the guys, I'm like, look, whoever wants to come out here and play with me, by all means. If I have to 1v5 these fools, I'll fucking do it. So I went out there.
Because if you lose because the other team's cheating, that's still better than quitting. Like,
right.
There's no honor in quitting.
So we went out there. It was me, it was Steve, it was Sparky, and Logan. So We went out there, and we end up like stomping these fools. We start stomping them. No, keep in mind, I was yelling
Yeah.
at the start before the game starts. I was getting I was doing some like quoting Leonidas from fucking Sparta, like
Pumping them up.
300, getting hype. I was hyping myself up.
Yeah.
And when that horn blew, I was murdering people. It was terrible. I was going crazy. My guys were putting in work. I even gained respect for my other teammates in that moment of time. And it was just a key moment for our team to kind of self-reflect afterwards. Because at that point, we weren't playing to score anymore. I had no focus intent on scoring. I just wanted to just prove that no matter what, we're not going to give up.
Yeah.
That was my goal, and that like my goal shifted from winning third place to winning respect. So,
Right.
and that we did. Adam came up to me afterwards, and he shook my hand. He's like, "That was very good. Like, I respect everything you did there." And I was like, "Thank you." And I was like, "I can't wait to go to Europe with you in the next few weeks." After the event, there was some emotions that were spilt out from my team. Just that was much needed. Like good and bad, like sad,
Sure.
like not bad, but like just sadness.
Yeah.
It's like we trained this hard, and it's like, oh, what if, the what ifs. It was heartfelt, especially for me. I did the best. I told myself did the best for my team. I tried to do everything that I could to make sure that we were all successful. And it was good. It was good reflection period, especially on the way home. And that leads me. I mean, that's deep. I mean that's a lot. But that leads
Right.
me into
Now, did you
finally
guys
Nations Cup. Yeah, go ahead.
did you guys leave the tournament Sunday night and start driving back home?
No, we left Monday morning.
Okay. So you had the night to kind of sleep on it and stuff.
Yeah,
and
we
then-
definitely slept on it.
Yeah. Okay.
We made it all work.
So on the way home, it was 26-hour drive. Was it kind of a somber?
No, we made it
Or
work.
were you guys pumped up? Okay, cool.
It wasn't really pumped up. It was just like the guys were tired.
Sure.
It's like, oh, we just want to get home, want to get back to life, blah blah blah. But we weren't really. It allowed us to kind of self-reflect even more.
Yeah.
Since we're all in the same car for 26 hours. I mean,
Right.
minus Zion, he's in the car with us for around 18 of those hours. But it was all good, and we learned a lot from that trip. And then going into Nations Cup, playing with the guys that we were rivals with, at all of the guys on our
Just a
Nations
few weeks
Cup team,
before.
we played against in the national tournament, for the
Yeah.
exception of Oliver, which is cringe, and Raven. Those are two exceptions. And then Anthony and I were talking, and Zion were all chatting about like, how is this even going to go? Because one of the things that might destroy us is our chemistry.
Yeah.
But when we got there, and we instantly started clicking with these guys because we already know them. It was never like that, and we told them our concern. We were like, "Bro, that's our concern too." It's like, "Oh, so we all are thinking the same stuff. Then this should be no problem." And then
It's
we
like
were
the
able
All-Star games. You know,
Right.
like in basketball or NBA or whatever, or football, they do the All-Star games, and they have all the different players from all the different teams, you know, kind of get together, and they're used to being rivals on the field, and now they got to play together, you know.
But the caliber of players that we all are playing as one collective unit, it was a different feeling. Like, just the capabilities that the team had, and the stuff that we were doing together when we haven't been playing together at all. No practice, no nothing. It kind of showed, and we made a statement of America's gonna be damn near number one spot next year in Nations Cup. If not win, like when we show up again.
Because you guys pretty much have the best of the best teams.
It was all handpicked. It was all cherry picked from Adam. Adam picked the team. I was picked, like Anthony was picked by Adam, and Anthony told Adam about me. And he was like, well, we'll see what he does in the Tampa event. And then I showed out in the Tampa event, and he's like, okay, cool. That's a good pick. So, was that. It's like stuff like that. That's how I was chosen. Because he was very selective.
I'm sure. Well, I remember seeing your guys' posts when, in fact, even when the tournaments were going on, I followed, I mean, I see them pop up on my feed or whatever on Instagram, and especially the NSL ones, the little short clips they put together of behind the scenes stuff, like prepping and going on the field. They're done really well. Whoever edits those, they're done really well.
Oh, their media crew is
it's
top
awesome,
notch.
man. Yeah,
they have
good
a really
music,
good
great
team.
edits, good clips. Very intriguing. My wife and I we spent a couple weeks in Utah. We went out to Moab and then to Salt Lake City, where our daughter lives, and so we spent a week in Moab and then some time in Salt Lake City. So prepping for that was right around the time you guys were doing your tournament stuff. So it was, but I did see it pop up on my feed whenever I was back at the hotel and got Wi-Fi. Because when we were out in Moab,
right? Yeah, you got no service.
There's no signal. No. It's
No.
beautiful out there, but yeah, there's no service.
Oh, I can only imagine.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Being unplugged is a different feeling.
It's awesome.
I've been trying to be unplugged. I mean, it's difficult because I have a social media presence, not a big one, but some sort of media presence. And I've just feel obligated just to check, just to see if anybody's reaching out or if I can't create any new connections. And it's just that one thing that's preventing me from deleting the Instagram altogether.
Yeah.
Because I've been doing a cleanse recently, and it's actually been really helpful.
Good.
In my clarity of mind. And right now, like on the topic of clarity, we're in postseason right now. All of the season's over. CSL, we didn't play in the championship, but we got like third place in our CSL event.
Yeah.
That's why myself, Mikey, and Anthony got to go up and play in that All-Star event, which was very fun, that I mentioned earlier. And SpeedQB, we ended up placing, we placed third again. Third place curse.
You like that number 3 spot?
The third place curse. I swear to you, it's real. It is the most annoying thing on planet Earth. But it's like there has to be this one little thing that's separating my team from that first place spot.
Yeah.
Like, I haven't figured it out yet, but I'm sure it's nothing crazy.
Well,
it might be mentality stuff.
Right, it could be. And those like baseball players that get in a slump, right?
Yeah.
Where they're with batting or whatever. And then baseball is one of the most superstitious sports out there, right? Where the players are probably the most superstitious ones, where they have to do these certain things. They have to take so many steps before the plate. They have to, knock their cleats with the bat so many times, like all these different steps. And if they don't do it, and then they get in a slump, they're like, yep. And it's like this mental block instantly happens because of all this, thought process before that. Yeah, you guys are, if you don't break the third place thing soon, it's going to start happening. It's almost like this thing, you're like, okay, I accept third place because that's all we're going to get.
That will never be the the
It's like that little thing in the back of your mind. You're like, nope, we're gonna overcome this.
we have to. Like
Yeah,
there's
you
no
got to
we
break
need
through it,
to.
man.
It's a we have to thing. It's like we don't need to. We just
Oh yeah,
have to get over the third place because we're like the second person to lose after the second place guys. And let me tell you something about that Speaky Bee event at our facility. We had a very great tournament. I won't take that away from the guys. We played phenomenal. But we split up our Obey team into two teams. The more serious guys, that'll be the people that play to win and to perform. Myself, Logan, Anthony, Zion, Dom. Oh, no, not Dom. Mason, Canyon. Like the six of us, we're on there on the serious team, which is Obey. And then the second group of our Obey guys, they're still on Obey. They just changed their team. The team name that they register under is the Goof Troop. So the Goof Troop, just the guys that just want to go out there and shoot shit, right?
Yeah.
And that was Steve, that was Shane, Mikey, Andrew, Sparky. You know, the more older guys that just are out there just to play for shits and giggles, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And they still did really well. But they ended up getting knocked out in like 4th place or something, 4th, 5th place. Can't remember. I'm pretty sure they got like 4th. But for Obey, the serious guys, so our team went up against this team called Slaughter Gang.
Oh yeah, Slaughter Gang. Yeah.
So
I had Cujo on here. So
we beat Slaughter Gang one time in like the prelim stages. We beat them, and then our match that it counted, we played them, and it was back and forth. Like we'd hang it, they'd hang it, we'd hang it, they'd hang it, type stuff. And the game was close. Ended up getting like a 4-piece on them. Like we killed one off the break, and then I killed the rest of their team. It was great. Got like a 4-piece on them, and then the scores close, like real close. And then the next round was like, all right, let's win the game. So what do? We hang the flag. So now the score is like 140 to like 125 or something like that. We're up.
yeah.
And then I was like, we just won against Slaughter Gang. It's time to go beat Elite for first place. Then Roy's like, was the game clean? Was the game clean? He's asking the refs. And one of the refs, it's a new guy from our facility that we supplied. He comes up. Excuse me. He says, no, there was a pull on Obey. It was on Zion. They pulled Zion because a BB hit his gun after it was like this guy was trying to force trade him or something. It was all crazy. But Zion got pulled. And then the ref was like, he's like, why did you pull? Roy was like, why did you pull Zion? And then he was like, well, I don't know. He said, I don't know if it hit him or not. We were like, what? But they still ruled it.
Yeah.
And we lost the game. And we got 3rd place because of that call right there. And fast forward to like the next week, I'm back at the facility and he's there, the ref. And I went up to him. I'm just like, dude, what happened?
Yeah.
I'm not mad at you or anything. Just explain to me what happened. And he goes, oh yeah, it definitely hit him. I just was nervous and anxious. And I was like, man.
So gun hits count?
Yep.
Okay, gotcha.
They do.
Okay.
2 gun hits do count.
Yeah.
And it's just very hard. You can't feel a gun hit.
No.
You hear it. You either hear it or you see it. Or you
Yeah.
don't.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess it was just one of those times.
Hmm.
And the ref couldn't
Well, what sucks is when it's done
explain that.
afterwards like that. Like
Right.
later, when it's not done right away, it's that kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Because then it looks sus.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it was a good game regardless to those guys, and they ended up going to play Elite, and then they like Elite was undefeated, so they had to beat Elite twice.
Mm.
They crush Elite the first game,
Really?
crush them, stomp them. But then the second game, Elite comes back out and just destroys them and wins the tournament, and we're just like,
where did that come
what? For a second, we were like, Slaughter might have this in the bag.
Mm-hmm.
Because locally, Slaughter Gang and Elite are rival teams. And they play each other constantly.
Yeah.
And at their home field, Nashville, Slaughter Gang beats them all the time.
Hmm.
So we were like, okay, this might be real. Elite might lose to these guys because Elite had won like a damn near perfect season.
Yeah.
Averaging first place damn near every tournament. Besides 2 or 3 tournaments, they got a second place.
Mm-hmm.
But Elite did Elite things, being that they came out and they just tore up. And they proved a point. They're like, yeah, you can't fuck with us. Won the tournament. Pops won MVP of that event. Shout out to him. He's a really cool guy. Cares a lot. He can do a lot. And he wants to see a lot of growth, especially for his son. Because Tyler, Shorty, he really loves his game. He's really, really talented kid. He's really good at the game. And, I mean, he's out in Fight Night now, winning Fight Night events.
Mm.
Yeah, he won his Fight Night event over in Texas.
Nice.
Which that was cool. And he's just kind of doing it so his son can have something to do, which is cool. Or at least that's what I think. And that's, if I had a son, that's what I'd be doing. I'd be doing everything in my power to make this sport as viable as possible and more fun as possible, so that I can have a nice little thing that I can bond with my son with.
Right.
That's the way I think about it.
For sure.
And I'm sure that's how he's doing it.
Yeah. That's wild, dude. Yeah, I saw the stuff with Baby Goat and his wife over there during the SL tournaments, and then just the like I said, the stuff that was popping up on my feed, and I thought it was really cool. I saw the post you made when you first got selected.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I was like, I know that guy.
Yeah, that was a crazy, crazy time again. And there's a funny story when we were there regarding Nikki, which is Adam's wife. So when we're there, we stayed on this cow farm. It's like
Really?
this ranch. It smelled like doo doo. Like I swear,
they usually do.
it was so bad. But this place we stayed at was nice. They had like a community hall in the backyard. And they had this giant field. They had the laundry house out on the left side. The house held like all of us. And there was one morning where I'm up in the kitchen cooking eggs. I cook eggs like every morning.
Yeah.
We got a nice little breakfast schedule thing going on. But I see this like white object on the like kitchen counter. And it's like a shape of like a worm. And like the cap of it, it's got like a little face and it's smiling. And I'm like, what is this? Sitting there looking at it. It looks like a sperm. It looks like a sperm. I'm sitting there looking at that. I'm like, oh my goodness, like that's interesting. And it's like white, like it's white in there, like the
Yeah.
liquid inside is white. So, and then Nikki walks in and she's like, "Oh, you found it?" I was like, "Found what?" He's like, "That's a blip of jizz," and I was like, "What?" And she's like, "Yeah, it's a little blip of jizz, you know. It's got a little alcohol in there." I was like, so
Oh,
apparently she went to like the liquor store and they had like some cool little sperm mix thing.
it's like a lot. It's liquor that's in a sperm-shaped bottle.
Yeah,
Oh my god,
yeah,
that's funny.
it was hilarious. So that's the little joke that ran the whole rest of the trip was the blippages. And
Oh
then
man.
in the locker room, so the HK guys, I think it was Chad who brought it. It was like this little whistle in the shape of a penis.
Yeah.
So it was just
I actually saw
lying
that
around.
video. They made a video of it.
So it was just
On
laying
Instagram.
around,
Yeah.
and Miles found it, and he put it around, like he started wearing it as a necklace. And then when I'm recording my video, he's like sticking it all up in the camera, so I have to blur it. And and his nickname was Dick Whistle. So every time we just call him Dick Whistle the whole time.
Oh
It was,
God,
and then
that's funny.
he took it home. He took it home on the plane.
Oh, that's
He
funny.
ended up taking it home. It was probably one of the funniest things ever. He made it so much more funny. Like that locker
It was
room.
it was
Great
funny
stories.
because right around that time there was a video that came out with kind of like behind the scenes stuff with Navrich and his guys. They
Mhm.
had some similar type of thing. I don't know if it was dildos or something they were like sword fighting with or something like that. Yeah,
What?
it was hilarious.
What has Navrich got going on over there?
Well, when I saw you guys over there, I thought, man, everybody, they go to the Netherlands and
And they started
start
acting a
whipping
certain
out
way. Like, what is going on?
penis symbols and stuff.
I mean, you know, the red light district is over there, so
Right?
it kind of makes sense.
I know.
Which we didn't get to go see, by the way, if you were wondering.
That's too bad.
The ECE boys were staying a couple days extra, or like a day extra, so I don't know if they went there, but they were
Yeah.
able to go out into Amsterdam and kind of experience that,
Okay.
which I wasn't able to do.
Yeah.
But I wasn't too focused on that. I was really focused on the tournament and staying locked in and doing what I was supposed to do in order to play my part.
Yeah.
Carry my weight.
Sure.
And I think I did that. I think I did.
Yeah, I remember when we first got stationed at when I first got stationed at in Okinawa, Japan. That's one of the things they talked about when we first got there. They were talking about oh, you got to go to Red Light Alley. And I was like, what's Red Light Alley? They're like, oh, prostitution's legal over here. I was like, really? Okay. You know, Americans aren't used to that.
Right.
So it's like so taboo, and over there it's
It's like
it's
all
accepted.
sunshines and rainbows. Like, come on.
Yeah, it's like whatever. So, matter of fact, what was it last week? My wife and I we just getting over like our grandkids and us. We as soon as the weather changed here last week,
Mm-hmm.
it went from 80 to 28 at night for like 3 days in a row. Everybody got a cold. We all got this change of weather kind of sniffles and
Bump.
stuff. Oh, dude, and I've still got this cough that's like loose. And it's like I haven't smoked in, I don't know, 5 years or 3 years or something like that. And
Wow.
I still have, I quit. I've been quitting all this stuff. Actually, I quit drinking. And
Oh, good for you. That's awesome.
yeah, you know what? I started out doing Sober October
Mm-hmm.
with my sons. Like randomly out of the blue, I was like, hey, you guys want to do Sober October? They're like, no. I'm like, come on, let's go. Let's do it. And, so anyway, and now I'm just like, I don't miss it, to be honest. So
That's normally how it goes.
yeah, I really don't miss it. And then so anyway, we were watching something last week as we're laying around, just kind of blowing our nose for the thousandth time, and we watched something on. I think it was a show. or was it a documentary? Anyway, I can't remember, but it showed something about in these people were in either Korea. You know what it might have been? It might have been that show about Uber, how Uber
Uber.
started. It's called Super Pumped, is what it's called.
Super pumped.
It's a short, like a mini series kind of thing, like a one
Mhm.
season, kind of like 4 or 5 episodes or something.
Mhm.
And I think they had gone to South Korea or something like that, which I spent a couple months in South Korea, and they went into this bar, and they had it's kind of like a buy me drinky bar where it's like a strip club where they
Yeah.
have the girls sitting with you, you buy them a drink, and they'll talk with you, and that kind of stuff, whatever. And so when they walk in, there's there's a bunch of women in bikinis with numbers on them, like they're
Mhm.
in a pageant. Where you
Yep.
just pick a number. And this was a bar that I went to in South Korea, and actually they had it in Okinawa, Japan as well, where they called it the stage. Now I know this is going to sound incredibly exaggerated, but I promise you it's the truth. Okay,
All
it
right.
is.
I'm listening. I'm listening.
You have to find some other military vets that can confirm this. All right, but anyway, you pick a number when you walk in, and you pay a fee up
Is
front
it
when you
random?
walk
Is the
in.
random number?
So no, you see these girls standing there. They're like
Oh,
standing
you
along
can
the wall,
choose.
and you just whichever one you
Choose.
want. Hey, I want number 10. Now, when they call number 10, you're in the bar, and you get in there.
Uh huh.
It's a really big bar. It's a dance club. And
Yeah.
they got music pumping, and right, they got a big horseshoe bar that wraps
Yep.
around in the front. Of course, tables everywhere,
Yep.
and when and on the bar, they've got kind of like a big area, like a dance area.
Mhm.
Well, when they call your number, you go up there and have sex with the number you picked on the stage in front of the whole bar. Okay. Yeah, exactly. So I never picked a number, but
Hey.
I was like, no, that ain't no, not doing it. I'm drunk, I'm a little crazy, but I ain't that crazy. Okay. And
I wouldn't be able to witness
uh,
that. I would
well,
have left.
honestly, there's a lot of guys that can't really do it when they get
Yeah,
up there.
there's no way. You just
Like, dude, talk about camera shy.
yeah, no shit. Stage
So-
fright taken to an extra level right there. Oh my gosh, public
So
speaking
speaking
fright.
of, the red light district and the red light alley, and then this kind of thing happening, you bringing it up reminded me of it, obviously. But then we just watched a show, and when it showed that part in the movie or in the show, it was actually kind of a controversial thing. There was like this big in the show. It was like this big thing that had gone on. Like somebody was going down for doing this when they were over there in that country. And I told my wife, I was like, "Don't you remember me telling you about this?" She's known.
Yeah.
We've been together forever, but I said, "Don't you remember me telling you about it? Like, why would that be illegal for these? It's legal over there." And
Right.
so anyway, it was yeah, it brings back a lot of memories with this red light alley thing, and just it's a totally different culture when you experience that kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like one of the cultures apparent I guess that I experienced was over in the Netherlands was the Aussies. So the Australian boys.
Yeah.
Shout out to all those guys. A couple of them actually knew me,
Really?
which was great. It was crazy.
From
I'm like,
online.
yeah, from online. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's like crazy to meet you guys. They're very, very solid group of guys.
Yeah.
And the stuff that they got going on over in Australia right now with the whole jelly ball, they call it jelly ball because they can't shoot
Oh,
airsoft BBs.
right.
Call them the
The
jelly
gel
ball
blasters.
boys.
Yep.
Call them
Yep.
the jelly ball boys.
Dude,
So one
this
thing
was
about yeah,
sometime this year, in the beginning of this year, they were talking about canceling that or banning that as well.
right. So that's why one of the main guys, I forgot his name, but he's like really prevalent. I think he has like a background in MMA or fighting of some sort,
Okay.
and he was just advocating for the sport and how it could actually be beneficial instead of harmful. And I'm
Mhm.
pretty. It actually is doing good over there, and I don't think they're going to be
Okay.
banning jelly ball anytime soon. But with these Australian guys, one thing about me is that I can do a crazy Australian accent. So I
Ah.
went over there, and then I was like, it's like, yeah, what's going on? Like, I have an Australian accent, and I wanted to see if, like, I could pass the test. And they were like, shit. They're like, you could fucking be one of us. And then I was like, cool. Sweet. But
Dude,
then,
that's amazing. That sounds just
thanks.
like it. For
Then
real.
they were like, you have to do a shoey. And I was like, a what? It's like a shoey. I was like, what the hell is a shoey? Long story short, you know what a shoey is? Do you know what that
No.
is?
Huh.
So a shoey is the act of drinking your alcohol from a shoe. So I didn't have a shoe. I had a cleat that I've been playing in for the past week.
Ugh. Ugh.
And the crazy thing about Real Strike is they got a bar. They have a bar with tap at the field.
That's awesome.
So, I mean, Bert's son is up there working the tap. Go up, pour it up in the shoe.
Uh.
Get this cleat that's just nasty, and everybody's around me. He's like, shooey, shooey. And down the hatch it went. It didn't taste terrible. I didn't really taste any fungus or anything. It was just
That's good.
it was just like, oh, there it went. And I don't normally drink.
You had to
so
pick
it was kind of
the
cool.
lint out of your teeth after
Yeah, it's just toe cheese and all that fun stuff.
all that sock lint, that builds up in, in the bottom of your shoes.
Mm-hmm. All the little
That's funny.
turf granules.
Oh yeah.
Because it's turf out there. And let me tell you something about that turf. That turf is a luxury.
Really?
You
slide for days.
they have
right?
to. They have to water it, right? Since it's field hockey turf. It's not your standard AstroTurf.
What?
They don't have the rubber, whatever material those little
padding
black,
underneath.
little black little things that they
those pellets.
sprinkle all over the AstroTurf.
Yeah.
This turf is completely different. If it's not wet, then the friction is
it's too
it's there.
sticky. Yeah. Right.
So there's a lot of friction. So when you wet it, there's enough friction for you to actually run around.
Yeah.
Really well with cleats on.
Without twisting your ankles.
Yeah.
Yeah, without busting your knee up when you slide.
But when you slide, like you said, you're sliding for days. But since it's wet, right? You're out there, you're sweating, you're hot. You want to get an instant cool off and a new boost of energy because you're not worried about the heat anymore. Go ahead and just do a belly slide. Go ahead and do a belly slide. Let me tell you something. You get all wet, all cooled off. You're ready to rock and roll. You're cooling. It's just your cool down. It was so good. It was a luxury. And if we could get some fields like that in the United States, I feel as if there would be so much more traffic to that area. The nicer the venue, I feel like the more the draw.
Right.
And
isn't that how Nashville is? Nashville Airsoft. Or no, maybe it's Extreme. Isn't that Extreme?
What?
Don't they have the turf?
No. That's
who has the turf?
I know Shot Zone.
Shot Zone, that's right.
Shot Zone, Indiana.
Indy. Yep.
But that turf is the AstroTurf, I believe.
Okay.
That's that soccer turf.
Yeah.
That they use. They don't water it or anything. It's got all the little pellets and stuff on it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sure the function is just the same.
Yeah.
But there has been some times where some of the guys would be running around in the Netherlands on that turf, and the guys that were watering it, they missed a spot.
Oh.
And when you slid and you hit like a dry spot, you'd be like, oh.
Uh-huh.
Like you just eat it or like take flight or something like that.
Yeah, right.
But that barely ever happened. And back on the topic of NSL, you saw the new layout?
No.
It's interesting.
Really?
So the new layout.
What's the new layout?
I want to pull it up myself.
Yeah, pull it up.
It's got all of the 90 L's
Uh-huh.
on the snake side of the field. So they're no longer oriented in a fashion where it's a zigzag. It's now a straight line, and they're now all lined up with one another.
Oh, okay.
So it's a straight shot. There's a
So
straight
like the
lane.
walls, the 90 degree, the walls facing the other
So you have
side.
this 90. So this is the 90 here, and
Right.
then you have another one here, and you have another one here, and you have
Oh,
another one
okay.
here.
Okay.
All the way into the back. So we have layout. Yeah, there it is. Like, man, this thing is crazy looking. I don't know. I don't know if I can share my screen or anything.
You
But
can do it.
I can share this. Yep. Go left.
There you go.
So this is the new NSL layout
Okay.
for 2024. And here's
Oh,
what I
I
mean.
see what you're talking about.
See what I mean?
Wow.
Look at all that.
Holy cow. Okay.
The 90s are just stacked and stacked and stacked.
Huh.
And then you
Oh, that's
have
wild.
whatever this is in the center of the field.
Yeah, it's like an H.
You have an actual Dorito side.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is on this. It's.
That's
I don't know how this is gonna
wild looking,
play.
bro. Where's Plexi? Is there a Plexi?
Right here. On the
Oh, there it
Dorito
is.
side.
Okay, there it is. There it is. Yep.
The Dorito side of the field's got the plexiglass on it.
Wow.
You now have a castle that's not in the perfect center, but it's offset.
Okay.
As you can see, it's offset.
Huh.
The perfect center of the field is marked with these home barriers, these little L
Mm-hmm.
things. As you can see, they got perfect straight shot lanes
Yep.
down both sides of the field.
Whoa.
It's going to be interesting how this is going to be played this year.
Yeah,
I'm excited to
that
try it out.
all those 90s lined up like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's it seems like it's gonna be hard to navigate up to the front of that
Yeah, Snake Side, I'm
without
pretty sure,
exposing
is going to
yourself too
be
much.
a more of a waiting game.
Mhm.
There isn't more of a sneaky snake anymore. It's
Gotcha.
more of how good is your timing?
Yeah.
How good can you time your movements?
Uh-huh.
How
Well, if
good
you get a
can
couple
communicate
people
with
over there
your-
on that side, then you can have some cover fire and try to move somebody up.
Then it could all come down to you get into one of these things and you exit and you go diagonal. You crawl diagonal. You crawl diagonal.
Yeah.
Because once you're on the floor, you can't really, unless you're over here, you can't really see anything. Once
Yeah,
you're on the floor. You can basically crawl up to the
I
H
love that they
with no
have this
contact.
like where you can like the 3D thing where you can move around because now you can see if you wanted to study the line like the sight lines.
Right.
Bro, that's cool.
Like when
Okay.
you,
Yeah, cause see now you can see where what you would see from that angle right there.
right, so when you peek out, so
Mm.
look, it's how can you time your movements over here?
Woo! Right.
But then if you get here, what are you going to see? Who can shoot you? The plexiglass, that's it.
Yeah.
Then you can crawl into this 90, and then you can pretty much see the whole field.
This is cool.
Right, and then you can a low peak out here if you're on the ground, and then just looking outside
Yeah.
and shooting down there.
Now this is going to be the
Would be
tournament
something.
setup, right? For
Mhm.
going into
This
next
is-
season.
Every field is going to set up like
Yep.
this. Sac County's already got it set up like this.
Really. This is cool looking, man.
It is
Very interesting. Yeah.
an interesting thing, and just different. It's different now.
Now, you guys, so you were talking earlier about you had some injuries, and it sounded like a lot of shoulder stuff. Was that from diving into these or
Yeah.
running up against these barriers? They're wooden barriers that are secured to the floor?
So some of these injuries came from landing issues. Not really necessarily on the barriers, but some of them
When you're
came
diving.
from bad dives, just bad form, improper form on your slides.
Yeah.
and it was just unfortunate and a very, very, very unlucky.
Yeah.
Like Ant, he slid and hit his shoulder hit the ground and popped out of place.
Mm-hmm.
It was absolutely awful.
Mm-hmm.
And Shane, he
Well,
tried to do a dive and did a belly flop instead.
oh yeah, right. Well, I was
But
wondering
he
if
got a
it's
snatch, so I respect him for it. But
right.
he did it. Anything for the snatch.
Yeah, it was worth the injury for it.
Yeah.
I mean, that stuff is going to heal, man. But the
Yeah.
game only lasts so long, so
Hmm.
you got to do whatever it takes.
But the problem with that is that Sparky's shoulder injury never did, and he's actually getting
Mm.
a career-ending surgery very, very soon on his shoulder, and he won't be
Is it
able
a
to play
rotator
anymore.
cuff thing?
I forget. I
Yeah.
don't think he mentioned. He just said his shoulder. He's getting shoulder surgery. He's gonna get
Damn.
shoulder reconstruction or some shit like that.
Woo. That
And
sucks.
Andrew had a calf injury that he couldn't play. Sadly,
Mm.
that tournament. So he was on the sidelines doing pit crew, being just basically extra set of eyes looking around and basically helping us with strategy. Very
You
smart
know,
guy. He's good to have out there.
these guys need to follow. You might have heard of him, knees over toes guy. I think that's his Instagram.
I've heard of that guy.
So he does shoulder, all the basically hip, knees, and shoulder work that most people have issues with from injuries, and that people, and basically the reason they call it knees over toes is like how we were taught, and you were probably taught the same thing when you're working out, like lunges, squats,
Mm-hmm.
these kind of things. You never want your knees to go over your toes.
Yes.
Okay, because that puts strain on the ligaments around your knees and this blah 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 whatever. Well, he's disproven that, so much so that he goes the opposite and trains the opposite way. So everything is knees over toes. Everything is your shoulder when you're not supposed to. If you have a shoulder injury, you're not supposed to move it a certain way. You move it that way. You move it the extreme,
Mm-hmm.
and he's gotten tons of good results. I mean, not good results like, oh, it's a little bit better. Like I can notice a little bit. No, no, these guys that even people that don't have injuries that are trained, they're starting to train this way with their lunges, with their leg work, right? Their leg workouts.
Mm-hmm.
They're having, more than 100% growth in their weights
Huh.
because of this stuff. It's insane. And he explains, he knows all the biology of it, like what's happening with the biomechanics and everything. So it might be interesting to see if some of your guys that have these shoulder injuries, if they can go on there and find some kind of workout routine where they can help
Go in there
kind
and
of fix
incorporate
themselves.
it.
Yeah, yeah, because a lot of rotator cuff, in sports, obviously, with the most common injuries, rotator cuffs, knees, those two things for sure, or
Mm-hmm.
ankles and stuff. But yeah, knees and rotator cuffs are a big issue with sports. No
Yeah, I
matter what
know.
sports you
And
play,
once you get that injury, it's
it's rough.
make it or break you, man.
Uh-huh.
Terrible.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if they could get some benefit from that stuff.
Yeah, but unfortunately for Sparky, he's getting that surgery and
Yeah.
won't be playing anymore, sadly, until he can get a 100% recovery.
Now, did any of your guys that are on the Obey tournament team, like the
Mhm.
more serious tournament team, any of you guys get injured besides Ant?
Don't.
Oh,
No.
okay.
Well, I consider him to be serious. We put him on the goof troop the last time, but he broke his foot.
Oh,
He was playing in wrestling shoes. And those things are really flat-footed. There's no kind of support. And
I think I talked to him about that actually.
And when you're on concrete, apparently his doctor told him he just stomped too hard and shattered his
Kind of like
foot.
a stress fracture. Yeah.
Exactly. But other than that, no.
Okay.
Canyon was good. Logan
Yeah.
was good. I was good. And yeah, Steve was playing. Well, Steve's on Goof Troop, but he played with us on. He was a part of that squad that ended up playing with us in that
Yeah. Now
NSL
Anthony,
tournament.
he's he was just like a dislocation, so if he didn't do too much tendon or ligament damage, then he should be good to go.
Right, he was good to go, but
Good.
it popped out again,
Oof.
and that was the time he went to the hospital. It popped
So
out
he's
more
gonna
than
have
once,
to. Yeah, that's
and there was
gonna
like
be.
some muscle damage or some shit.
He's gonna have to. He's gonna have to strengthen that. Yeah. So it
Mm.
doesn't keep doing that. My son actually, one of my youngest son, he popped his out in football, and for about 2 years after, he does like construction work.
Yep.
And I mean, he doesn't do the hands-on stuff as much now because he's a like a project manager or whatever for
Right.
construction projects. But when he was, if he'd lift something heavy, a brick or a bag of tools or whatever. If he didn't like cinch up his shoulder real tight, it would actually pull it out. It would just pop out. It was that in and out like pretty easily. It didn't hurt him too bad, but he had to like putting it back in. It would hurt. It was very uncomfortable.
Uh-huh.
But he had to work on his strength on that. Do the shoulder work
Mm-hmm.
to build it up. Yeah.
And shoulder work is very important.
Oh yeah.
I train shoulders twice a week
Good.
to make sure that that's in place.
Mm-hmm.
But I do what I not gonna lie, my rear delts are lacking.
Those are hard
I've been-
to work, man.
I've been starting to work them a little bit more, and we're gonna hopefully see some progress really soon.
Yeah.
Because my front delt and my side delt are great,
Yeah.
and then when you flex it, it's just like, where's the back? It's like, where is it?
Uh-huh. Well, you got to specifically do it. It's like your shoulders and your chest kind of go together. So when you're
Right.
doing push-ups or bench or any kind of pushing motion this way, whether it's incline, decline, whatever, you're working those shoulders. You're working
Yep.
all the front, everything
That
in
front
front
delt.
that wraps around, right?
Mm-hmm.
The only back part that you're working with that are your tries, and so your forearms obviously, but yeah, working the back stuff is very difficult because we don't have a natural motion that does in our daily lives that kind of
Right.
uses those
The
muscles.
rear delts, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
It's like, unless you're like bent over and you're picking something up, like just with your arms, like
Bricklayers,
picking it up like
they
that, like
they're massive with those bricklayers. Yeah,
Yeah?
they because they're usually bent over picking these. When I worked concrete, I worked with this dude. I was the first concrete job I had. I think I was about your age. Well, no, I was 24, I think.
Mhm.
So 25 maybe. And I get on this crew, and I'm fresh, fairly fresh out of the Marine Corps. So I'm like,
Right.
I'm in good shape.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm a badass, whatever. In my head,
Yeah.
And I go to
got it.
this
guy.
yeah, and I go to this concrete company and worked with this dude that's like 50. Okay,
Uh-huh.
he looks like Popeye. His
Ooh.
forearms are massive, bro.
Swole body.
I mean, swole. The dude's never been to the gym in his life. He don't even care about working out,
Yeah.
quote unquote. It's he's just kind of grizzled looking. He looks a little older than he is. He drinks and smokes, and he's ripped, and his hands, his fingers were just like
But they were just
fat. Oh, they were just like
like craggly.
Oh yeah, and his skin was all cracked and just like
Yeah.
like probably a half inch of callus on every finger, just from picking up these bricks. And he would pick up, 2 cinder blocks with each hand, together,
Uh-huh.
like no problem, and just oh yeah,
all forearm right here.
oh yeah.
I got a little forearm cruncher right
There
here.
you go. Yes. Yeah, go pick up some cinder blocks. Bro.
Cinder
This
blocks.
dude. Oh, you do that all
Cinder
day, and your
block
fingers because I worked with him and I thought this guy is tough. He's probably one of the toughest dudes I ever met, and just that kind of work. But anyway, he's bent over, like squatting a little bit, and
Mm-hmm.
because you don't want to kneel down because you have to crawl to your next spot when you're laying the bricks. So
Yep.
you bend over and you grab from the ground. You grab your next cinder block, lay it up there, slap the mortar on it. Next one. So he is like his traps where
Or
like you could barely see his neck. But
damn.
he worked all these muscles back here in his upper body that were
The
just
upper
normally
back.
don't work.
Right.
Yeah.
And for just regular Joe schmoes
Yeah.
like me, I'd have to go in there and actually target them to
Right.
see the growth instead
Uh-huh.
of going to my day job and then just doing the work and then magically get thunder traps and
That's it.
crazy rear delts.
Uh-huh. Have you seen that dude, the Liver King?
Yes.
That dude's nuts, bro.
That guy's physique for a long time, I remember him claiming his natural status. This is all natural, this, and that.
I have a hard
And then
time believing that, man.
he came out, he finally came out and told us
Oh,
that
okay.
he
Okay.
was, in fact, a steroid user.
Because that stomach. So when you have a bloated looking stomach, this is like one of the classic signs of taking roids. Is this stomach that's kind of sticks out, but it's
Mm-hmm.
still ripped.
Ripped.
Uh-huh. I forget.
Yeah, he
There's a
had one
name
of those.
for it, but yeah, he definitely had that stomach.
He did. And you saw his dinner table. All those videos, you saw that dinner table. Like, how many calories is on that dinner table?
Bro.
Crazy.
Yep.
I mean, granted, his physique was crazy.
Uh-huh.
I mean, doing crazy workouts, his walking, dragging all that stuff behind him.
Dragon.
dragging.
Chains around his neck.
Just absolute monster.
Uh-huh.
And he lost a lot of respect because he didn't claim his. He wanted to claim natural. And
Yeah.
part of the reasons why I believe that he claimed natural was because it was used as a part of his marketing.
Yeah, for sure.
The whole beast
Mm-hmm.
protein shake that he was always talking about.
Yep.
It's like, if you keep drinking my protein, then look what you can do. You can look like me. When in reality, he was selling a facade. And
Yep.
that stuff like that doesn't last very long.
No. Well, we talked, about not about that specifically, but last time we were talking about, figures in the media like that, like in social media,
Mhm.
that have a presence that and oh my God, what's his name? It just left my head. Tate, Andrew Tate.
Yeah, Andrew Tate.
He's gotten a lot of flack when he first started because he's so confident and in your face, kind of brash, like truthful.
Mhm.
So many people are so weak-minded nowadays. They're really not used to hearing that kind of, they're not used to hearing things said in that way, and so it turns them off.
Mhm.
And they instantly dislike somebody because of it, even though that person's speaking the truth. They don't like the way they say it, so they're not saying it nice, and I'm
Cop-
like, bro.
copium is what they call it. That's the term.
Right.
I've heard that term floating around. Copium.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I started listening to Andrew Tate along like 8 months ago.
Right, I
Now.
remember that. Because the last time
And
we talked, you were just starting to
go
follow
through all
that.
that stuff. And
Yeah, yeah.
it's been solid.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of growth in my own self.
Yeah.
I've started talking to a lot more people, doing a lot more things with myself as far as engaging in different business ventures and securing different kinds of partnerships. Like, I should be getting an AirTac, Hudson from AirTac.
No.
So AirTac is a great company that makes uppers for Polar Star ESGs.
Okay.
And they also make them for AEGs, so the electric ones,
Mm-hmm.
and ones with stocks. So guns with stocks. That's mine. So I met Hudson, the CEO of that company, AirTag. Went up and talked to him, just chopping it up, telling him that my team pretty much rocks AirTag all the way, except for me.
Hmm.
And he's like, why? He's like, well, I can't really get any benefit out of your uppers because it doesn't have any Picatinny rails on it. I can't put my sight on there. I can't put my foregrip on there. Blah, blah, blah. I got the stock. I can't really look down the fibers with my mask because it gets in the way.
Mm-hmm.
Yada, yada, yada. And he's like, huh. But then he was like, well, look at these things that I have. And it was like Picatinny adapters that go on the carbon. It's the tube itself.
Really?
And you can lock it down, and now you have
It goes
Picatinny
over
rails.
it. Yeah, and then you just secure it down. Okay.
So I can put my sight on there and my foregrip.
Wow.
So then I was talking to him. I was like, just ended up mentioning some partnership stuff because I was selling my merch at the time.
Yeah.
Because I had a bunch of merchandise on hand. I don't know if I was engaged in merch when the last time we spoke.
I don't think so.
No, I don't think I was. So I started
Okay.
a merch line.
Yeah.
Based on the game of chess. So, but my last name is Bishop.
Oh, makes sense.
So I started there.
Yep.
And our game of Airsoft is like chess. And in chess, you have different pieces that play different roles.
Right.
The same thing in Airsoft. We are the chess pieces. We all have our role, and we need to play. If we are in the best position, then we will win.
Yeah.
Pieces in the best position will win every time.
Right.
So going in with that mindset, I created a design and put it on a beanie because a lot of Airsoft players use a beanie.
Yep.
And it's something new. So the design, I made it myself, put on SL for SpeedSoft League in the center of it, launched it, and it was fairly successful.
Nice.
So then I made more merch a few months later, made hats. So made 3 kinds of hats with different chess pieces on them. So one of them was a snapback hat. It was a bishop hat, so it had the bishop on it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had the dad hat, the typical dad hat. So that was the rook. So the rook was on there. And then I had a trucker hat. Then I had a knight on there.
Okay.
And then I had a t-shirt. Now this t-shirt on the front, so where this Newton track and field logo would be, it's the high school I went to.
Okay.
That said fearless on it.
Nice.
And on the back, it was a crazy, like, non-Western dragon, like Asian style dragon on the back.
Yeah.
It's like a bunch of smoke around it with SL in the middle of it. And I had a bunch of those. Had the samples that I brought with me. Like, all of that is on my Instagram. If you want to go check it out after we're done. It's where I brought it up there to sell it.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up selling, like, I ended up showing some of it to Hudson. He's like, bro, I want to buy that. So I sold him a t-shirt. And then I sold him a hat. So I comboed it together. Gave him a package deal because it's on site. And then we were like, it's like, dude, let's do like a partnership or something.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm a content creator, blah, blah, blah. So I went down the content creator rabbit hole. And just started talking about that. And then eventually came to an agreement where he would send me an AirTag upper and I do some review on it.
Yeah.
And it should be getting here soon-ish.
Oh, nice. So this is fairly recent. Awesome.
Reach out to him. That was at the All-Star Tournament in Rhode Island.
Yeah.
Like a month ago.
Okay.
It's very, very recent.
Very cool.
But yeah, it's all about, like, going back to the Andrew Tate conversation, it's him saying that controversial stuff, like the truth and the way that he said it. It's like I needed it here that way.
Yeah.
Like, I've been hearing so much negative, and then when I heard what he was saying, it was like, it's not negative, It's just
Mm-mm.
somebody telling you the truth.
Yeah.
And for me, it didn't hurt. It was
No,
like,
same.
yeah, it makes
It was
sense.
refreshing. Yeah.
It was like, okay, let's do this. Like, I needed to hear
Uh-huh.
this, and it just hit me in the perfect time, and then I started getting going. And of course, recently when school started back, I had a rough point getting back into the swing of things with school
Yeah.
and putting my other ventures on hold. That took a
Right.
toll on my mental state a little bit, but we're back on track, getting things done.
Good.
I'm talking to more people, talking to more of my peers, just actually speaking to random people.
Oh, good.
Like today, I was standing in the line of Starbucks and I just spoke to this random person. Not like, "Hey, how you doing?" Just like I the Starbucks that we were in on my campus was literally full of people, and it's never that full of people. And there were
Mm.
probably about 50 drinks that nobody was picking up. It's like,
What?
yeah, there was like an excess of drinks that people have ordered and just never picked up, and they're just sitting there, and everybody's waiting on their drink, and I'm
Who?
just, man, it's
Yeah.
never usually this busy. What's going on? And then he turned around and we started a conversation, and that's kind
That's
of how
cool.
I intended it to happen, and just kind of employing like little things and getting out of my own comfort
Comfort
zone.
zone. Yeah. Yeah. It's funny how when we get out in public, um, if we're not like at an airsoft event, um, it is it's a little almost a little nervous to start a conversation with some random
But
person.
why?
And but yeah, but why are we like that? So you know what I try to do is the way I think about it for myself that really helps is to get over this fear is I always think a little hesitation if you're waiting and you're standing somewhere and you want to say something to somebody or talk to
Huh?
somebody is I always think how would I feel or respond if they were to turn around and say something to me and I'm like I mean every time I'm always like
I would light up.
I would be like, yeah, that'd be cool. Once in a great while, when I haven't had coffee or something in the morning, that I'm like, don't
I
talk to
mean,
me.
yeah,
But
when it gets like that, you can't really tell, right?
then, yeah,
Unless after you speak, you can kind of read the person is like, oh, are they kind
yeah,
of just like glancing around, checking their phone, and you can
uh huh,
clearly tell they're not interested. And then
yeah,
so be it. Then it's like, all right, sorry for bothering you, but
yeah.
I'm just excited to kind of start employing these new
That's good.
techniques and seeing who am I gonna meet, right?
Yeah,
Because one day
right.
you can meet that person that's gonna change your life, change your business,
Mm-hmm.
change whatever you got going on, and it's really
Absolutely.
exciting stuff, especially as young as I am,
Mm-hmm.
getting into the things that I'm getting into, and hopefully I can start making the money that I want to make, so I can continue doing airsoft. And that's
Yeah,
another problem with airsoft now. Well, it's
yeah.
not really it's not a problem, but it's a problem at the same time.
Sure.
The travel costs,
Yep.
especially with NSL, so that was the main thing with NSL. On their side, they want to think about it financially, but on the player side, who has the amount of funding, the crowdsource funding, who has the amount of individual funds to go travel, to fly to these
Yep.
events 3 times
I was
in
gonna
the
say
span
it's
of.
not just the one. It's not just the one thing. It's like to get to the Netherlands, you've got to go through how many events to place or to be able to get on a
You
team
have
like
to
that.
get you have to get all the way through. You have to go in, you have to qualify for the US Nationals, you have to place good in Nationals, and which is in California, and
Mm-hmm.
then you have you have to fly over to the Netherlands.
Yeah.
$2,000 to fly over there.
Yep.
Not only you're probably spending around, if you were to make it to, my roommates are crazy. Yeah. They're probably spending around $6,000 at least traveling,
Yeah.
combined with every sort of little expense that you're all of the money that you're spending traveling. I'm talking about not the fares, not the fares that you're paying to get to the place. Now I'm talking
Yeah.
about housing. What's your
Housing,
housing, and then your
food.
food, and then
Yeah.
venue cost.
Yep.
What's it cost to register for the tournament?
Mm-hmm.
NSL registration isn't cheap. You're
Yeah.
spending $750
Yeah.
for these events. You're spending $2,100 if you're going to all three events. That's $2,100 out of pocket.
Mm-hmm.
If each event is $700, because that was the registration for the extreme event last year was $700.
Yeah.
And I was lucky enough to basically be playing rent free. I was basically playing rent free, and that was due to my contributions in the skill department and just being a good person and a good leader and
Yeah.
basically trying to help the team in every other way. But I don't like being in that position. I actually want to have a little bit of freedom when it comes to my finances. So this season, it's really lock in or you can't really play, because that was one of the things that Mikey and I were talking about, is who on our team can actually go out and travel. Because if that's what the season is looking like, Rhode Island 3 times in a row,
Mm-hmm.
who knows what's going to happen? Are we going to be able to afford that? Mikey's got a business to take care of. He can't do that right now.
Yeah.
I'm in school. I'm not making that much money that right now. I can't do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Well, not only that, it's and we talked about this before, is the time, right? I mean, it's
Right.
time off. Um,
Who can
it's
afford to
just
get off work?
it's a very, because it's not a professional sport.
There's no
Um,
excuse for it, right?
it's not a yeah. It's like very difficult to make it a huge priority. And if you don't make it a priority, like it's going to take someone making it a priority to get the time off and to have the money saved up to go throughout a whole season. Like if you add all that up throughout a whole season, what your team would have to, what events they'd have to go to, travel, all the expenses involved. It's for each player. Yeah, it's a huge commitment. It's not a small commitment.
No, it's an all or nothing deal.
Mm-hmm.
And when you think about it even further, that's one tournament organization.
Yeah, it's
You
true.
have CSL.
You have CSL, Speed
You have
QB.
SpeedQB.
Yeah.
SpeedQB is the more affordable of the bunch.
Okay.
Your tournament registrations are running you around $250, $300
For a team, yeah.
for a team.
Mm-hmm.
You can easily source that. That's $50. If you
Right.
have a roster of 7, that's around $40-something.
Mm-hmm. Well, plus, doesn't Speed QB do a lot of tournaments on the East Coast? They used to just be
They
on the West
do.
Coast, right? They do them all over.
They do all over the country now.
Yeah. Okay.
And in a CSL, what I was telling you about Keegan going that
Yeah.
extra mile to take the steps required to make it a professional sport in this new
Mhm.
registration process, it's $1,000 up front.
Mm.
And it's you either show up or you don't.
Yep.
Non-refundable. You get set up as soon as you pay the $1,000.
Right.
It's like, if you want to play CSL or do you want to play NSL? What if the dates
Mhm.
conflict?
Yeah. Right.
So then you're like, what do I really do? So
Yeah.
Obey is really thinking about worst case scenario, like splitting up and doing
Mm.
who can afford this, who can afford that, who can afford this tournament organization, who can afford this tournament organization, who can afford to travel to this event, can players playing in this organization afford to go to this organization when people from this organization can't afford to play it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's money makes the world go round.
Yeah. Those are big commitments.
It is.
Yep.
It's
Well, I've
just-
seen. I think there's some people I've talked to on here from different teams that started out with kind of, I think, high hopes for wanting to do some of the NSL stuff, and then had to drop out because of the
Mhm.
travel, the expenses, the
Yep.
commitment of it. If you have, if you have a, if you're in a relationship, you have a wife and you have kids, and you have, you each have jobs or whatever. Like then, each thing that you add into that is it makes it a little more difficult to get the money and get the time off
Right.
to go to these things. So, and if you don't, I guess if you miss, you can't really miss certain tournaments, or else you won't get placed, right?
So what we were thinking about in the placement structure of this season, there are teams in Rhode Island that are going to be playing all three events. That'll be your East Coast guys, East Coast
Yeah.
Energy. That'll be your Bayside Breezy boys. That'll be NGSS. That'll be your Infamous boys. I don't know who else. But those four off the bat are playing. And they play at that field all the time.
Mm.
So they're guaranteed. If they're playing all four and
Hmm.
they place, they're guaranteed a spot in the Nationals.
Right.
So that means for the people that are traveling, you have to go up there and you have to win if you
Yep.
want to play in the national tournament in Sac County. There isn't another option.
Hmm.
Because if you go up there, you spend all that fucking money
Yeah.
to lose, then your season's over.
It's done. You don't have a way to make it up.
Right, and you just spend all that money to just go up there and lose. And
Mm.
that's like a risk that some people don't even take.
Sure.
And it's not even it's fair that some people won't even take it because there's so much downside to an upside.
Hmm.
The upside, ooh, we win, but another downside is like now we got to spend an extra couple more $1,000 to go travel to this national tournament.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Unfortunately, you don't have. It's not big enough to have it set up where like college teams, or football teams, where you play there and then the next month they play your place, so you don't have to travel. It's not
It's
it's
all
not able to
fair,
be set up that way right now.
right?
Yeah.
I don't
Hmm.
I don't know
Yeah.
because it was funny when we heard that NSL was picking Extreme to play all three events when Extreme had their SpeedQB regional championship. Well, not like a championship. I don't even know what to call it. It's like a regional event, like we had our regional event. There was only 4 teams that showed up.
Mm.
It was the 4 teams that I had mentioned that were going to play all 3 NSL
Right.
events. Infamous, ECE, Bayside, and GSS.
Hmm.
Just the 4 locals, and they went up there and played, and ECE won it. ECE beat everybody.
Yeah.
And I kind of expected them to, but hey.
I'm sure that's going to be the main challenge as the sport grows for these
Mm-hmm.
tournaments is the logistics, right? Getting all that kind of set up.
Mm-hmm.
A team that like you guys that doesn't have a local, like you got to travel if you want to play in some of these in place and get these points or whatever. You're going to have to travel. You're going to have to really break into that tournament, like
Mm-hmm.
with the you have to pay the price, way bigger price tag than these other teams that are local where the tournament's held.
Right.
There's not really an easy way around that right now.
Or they get a free ride to the Nationals at this point.
Yeah.
And not to mention, on top of NSL America and standard NSL Europe, there's now a pro league in Europe. I don't know if you noticed that.
No.
If you knew that. They're doing pro league again. They used to do it for SpeedQB, but now they're doing it for NSL, I believe. And Fives is running that as well.
Okay.
East Coast Energy is also participating in the Pro League in the Netherlands. So on top of the Pro League that they're going to be playing in overseas, they're going to be participating in their NSL events in the States as well. And it's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
To see. Excuse me. Oh, wow.
That's wild. Oh, don't worry about it, dude. It's this time change. When it gets dark at 5:30 now, I don't understand.
I don't get sleep. I have to wake up at 5 a.m. if I want to work out.
Mm-hmm.
And I definitely want to work out, so I get up at 5 in the morning.
Yeah.
But the time that I go to bed is late. As in, sometimes I'm doing schoolwork, or I'm doing other things, such as this, or eating, for that matter. Like I'm bulking, and sometimes when I get home from class, it's like 8 o'clock, and I'm sitting there eating for an hour and some change.
Yeah.
So I need to get the calories in because I was in class the whole time.
That's got to be rough for somebody like you with your kind of build and your kind of metabolism and working out on top of it, and you're trying to bulk. Bro.
You know, I'm 10 pounds
what are you
into
eating,
this
5,000?
bulk right now. I mean, no, I'm actually eating 3,400 a day, which is 400 calories surplus over maintenance.
Yeah.
I've gained, what is it now, from when I started? So I started at 130. I'm now 144 as of this morning.
Oh, okay. Dude, a lot of people will hear that, especially people that can, that get fat real easy and go, 14 pounds, what the hell? That's nothing. No, you don't understand how much work it takes to gain 14 pounds of lean muscle. Like, for real,
if I
bro.
eat 1 calorie under my maintenance, I'll lose 20 pounds.
I believe it. I believe it.
It's annoying.
Yeah.
But I track my weight every
constant
morning.
Work. Yeah.
I track my weight every morning, step on the scale, count my calories, making sure that I'm eating the right amount of food every day. Because when I get to that point, it's like, oh my God, I feel like shit mentally and physically. But then at the same time, I want to get up to and actually reach my goal of 170 pounds. Because I feel like there's just a certain respect thing. It's like, oh, this guy's clearly disciplined. He looks good. He's in shape.
Yeah.
Besides, when I'm out here talking to people, and I'm not scrawny, but I'm not big. You know what I mean?
Right.
There's a complete difference, and it's visible. And I just want to be bigger, anyways. And I've said that for a very long time that I was going to be 170. And what good am I? What good is my word if I don't stick to it? So that's exactly what I'm doing.
Yeah. Well, good on you, man.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And it's not easy. It's hard.
That's some discipline. Everyday discipline.
It's hard.
Uh-huh.
But hey, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
That's it. You better eat your ass off, bro.
Yeah.
You better start pounding that stuff.
When we get off this call, that's exactly what I'm about to go do.
I'm sure there's a lot of times where you have to. You're on the regiment, and you really don't feel like eating at that moment, but you're like, I've got to. I've got to.
That's where the force feeding comes into effect, and that's when I'm staring at my food for long periods of time, and that's not good.
Uh-huh.
Because sometimes I'll be eating, and sometimes it wants to come back up because.
Oh. Yeah, you're.
But I figured out a way to pace my meals and break them up. So I'm eating my meals in 500 calorie segments throughout the day.
Yeah, that's what I used to do. I used to do 6 500-calorie meals a day.
That's exactly what I do. I do 2 shakes. 2 shakes, so I do 1 in the morning, paired with a cereal bar for carbs because I go to the gym 5 in the morning.
Yep.
Got to get the carbs before I go into the gym.
Mm-hmm.
Then I drink 1 at night. And then for breakfast, it's 6 eggs. And then my 2 sandwiches that I bring to school, 2 peanut butter honey sandwiches that I bring to school, they're $4.50 each.
Yeah.
And then sometimes when I'm on campus for a very long time, I go and buy one of those Met RX bars. They're like the meal replacement bars. It's like 410.
I used to eat those.
410 calories.
Those are great for calories, yeah.
And then I get home, and then I have my meal prep that I've prepped. It's got 400 calories worth of spaghetti and meatballs,
Mm-hmm.
and then I have 600 calories worth of chicken and rice.
Yep.
And then I drink a shake, and then that's it.
Nice. Yeah, that's good. That's a good regimen. I used to do similar. I used to do yogurt and like breakfast. The breakfast snack or whatever
Mhm.
was yogurt and honey
Mhm.
and a couple like carrots and celery. Honestly, just for something to chew on that was solid and crunchy. Kind of get help with that. And they're obviously especially if you're growing your own, which I did back then. Uh, you get all the nutrients,
Mhm.
without the pesticides. And but yeah, I used to do a lot of the similar stuff. And then if I needed extra calories,
Mhm.
peanut butter and jelly sandwich on,
Oh yeah,
organic bread, wheat bread, or
I do honey wheat bread
yeah,
on and peanut butter and honey. I got organic peanut
it's
butter,
great. Yeah, it really
which isn't
sticks too.
bad. It wasn't. It
Hmm.
does isn't bad. And then I put a lot of honey on it.
Yep.
So good. Some people are like, "What are
There's
you
a
eating? Just peanut butter?" I'm like, "No, it's honey on there."
oh, dude.
So good.
At our local store, they have here in South Carolina in the area we're at. There's a lot of farmers markets. So there's a lot of farmers around here,
Mhm.
local farmers, and they do. They recently, in the last year, started putting their stuff. They have a whole section in the mainstream grocery store that we have. So it's like right when you walk in, as soon as you walk in the main door, there was a big stand, and it
Mhm.
tells what company it is, where they're at, which local place it is, and they have we have a lot of beekeepers around here, and so there's two different honey brands that are all natural. And like if you get all natural honey, most people don't know this. When you get regular processed honey from the store, like you get it in that little squirt bottle thing that looks like a teddy bear or something,
Mhm.
it's already kind of like dark and liquidy. Well, that's not how natural honey is. Natural honey you actually have to heat up.
Mhm.
It'll be real pasty. It's really thick, and you don't want to microwave it because it ruins the
Yeah.
molecular thing of it. So you put your jar, whether you have a glass jar or a plastic one, you put it in a pan of water and slowly heat it up. Now, once you heat it
Mhm.
up and get it to where it's that runny, like where it looks like what we know is honey, how you can use it, then
Yep.
it'll stay like that for days, even in your cupboard. So, and
Really?
honey never goes bad, never
Nope.
expires. It's super good for you. I have some left now in a jar that I need to reheat, and yeah, it's really good.
Dang, I didn't understand. I didn't know that you could do that.
Yeah,
I just buy the bear from the
yeah,
store,
yeah. I mean, that's not terrible, but there is a some kind of processing that they use to keep it where it doesn't
like
solidify like
runny.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's if you get the like the regular real honey that they take right off the
Right at the
honeycomb,
comb.
like if you go to a local place like a farmer's market and they put it in a jar, it's going to be solid. Like you could actually scoop it out with a like you could use it like a real granular kind of peanut butter or butter. You put
My
it out and
cousins
then
gave me
spread it.
some of that. They have a
Yeah,
beehive barn, and they gave
yeah,
me one of those little,
that's how it
like this
looks.
little thing.
Uh huh.
It was kind of
Yeah,
cool.
if it's a little cold, you could actually just kind of scoop it out and
Yeah,
eat
just
it,
eat
kind
it.
of chew it almost. Yeah,
Had
but
that granule, like you were saying,
uh,
the granular
it's real
stuff.
grainy. Yeah, yeah, it was really
That's,
good for you. So definitely. Well, it
I
sounds like you're
might.
doing
Yeah.
great, man. Um,
Yeah.
you look great. You're about to turn 22.
Appreciate
What are you
that.
studying in college again?
So I'm studying marine science,
That's right.
and
Yep.
like I don't, like I said, I had
Still
this
going good.
epiphany. It's going great. All my
Okay.
classes are going good. Like I had the epiphany of I want to make money,
Yeah.
so I don't want to stay in marine science out of college. I'm
Right.
eventually gonna make my return, I
Well, let me
believe.
ask you this: if you had a choice, let's say you made some residual income,
Hmm.
okay, when you do, uh, and you make some residual income that's enough for whatever, would you be interested in doing marine science outside of just
Yes.
for work? Okay,
Yeah. So
that's a good
my
litmus
plan.
test.
Yeah. My plan is to circle back after I've become financially free and
Yeah.
start teaching ichthyology, which I'm
Ah.
actually going to take next semester. It's my last semester at the university. Be taking ichthyology, which is the study of fish.
Oh wow.
Love fish. Yeah, it's good.
Huh.
But yes,
That's a never-ending study, man, because there are so many
there's so
species of
many
fish, bro. Like stuff we haven't even discovered yet in the deep,
in the deep ocean. Like we haven't even discovered.
bro. It's
It's still
crazy.
the 5%. Still 5%.
Now, have you seen the video? I know this is off topic a little bit, but we'll wrap up here in a second. Have you
Yeah.
seen the video of these guys that have gone down really far? Where there's a video of this guy, I forget who it is, but it's someone that studies the deep oceans, and there's like a separation. It's almost like a plasma that they found at the bottom of the ocean. Have you seen that? Where it's like they go in and touch it with this whatever
A
kind of
mechanical arm. Is
yeah.
it a brine pool?
It might be.
The brine pool is like a white film.
It's kind of like a white film.
Is it white?
And well, no, it's not. It looks like water. It looks like the water. The only way they can tell
Right.
the difference is that it's
It's I know what you're talking about. And
like a texture.
they have the hagfish will go down in there, and
Yeah, right.
and then they'll actually if they stay in there too long, they'll die
Yeah,
because
right.
it's too
It's kind of like a
salty.
thick. Yeah, yeah. Okay.
It's a brine pool.
Is that what it is? Okay.
It's salt. It's crazy how those things work.
It's amazing. Yeah. There's so
Yeah.
many things I'm fascinated with stuff like that in the ocean because there's so many things that aren't discovered yet or that we don't know a lot about.
Right.
Yeah.
And this my unyielding thirst, my unquenchable thirst for knowledge, just grows hungrier and hungrier each day.
Yeah.
In all realms.
Hmm.
In all realms.
There's a
Well, I
good
couldn't say, like,
documentary.
all
It's
realms.
that talks about a lot of the. It's actually not a documentary specifically for marine life, but it ends up being a lot about that and the coral
Mm-hmm.
reefs and stuff like that. There's a couple of them. There's one called uh, something 100. There's a guy that studies why certain people in certain groups around the world live to be over 100. So the centurions or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And it's on Netflix. It's The Secret of 100 or something like that. And then the one with Zac Efron that he did when he was in Australia. He was stuck in Australia when the lockdowns happened, and so he couldn't leave. And he was like,
Mm-hmm.
"Well, let me discover all this stuff in Australia." And so it ended up being a lot about the marine life because that marine life affects so many cultures with their food and their ecosystem. And they were talking about the coral reefs being getting damaged and that kind of thing. It's
Mm-hmm.
really interesting, man. But yeah, that one, I think it's a limited series. The Zac Efron one is about. It's called Down Down Under. What's it
Down
called?
under.
Anyway, you'll
Australia. The Great Barrier Reef.
yeah, it's so like they actually do go to he dives at the Great Barrier Reef, which is something he had wanted to do his whole life, and I'm gonna look it up because it's bugging me that I can't remember. I just watched this the other day, but I was in and out of this state of coughing my head off and getting over this
Trying
kind
to
of
rest
cold.
up.
Yeah, resting up, man. Um, okay, I'm gonna find it. It's very interesting. I didn't really I wasn't really looking for something like that. It was just something that was really interesting to me. I love learning about the planet and especially like the trash problem we have. Like dumping stuff in the ocean. Is
Yeah.
I feel like it's a teaching. It's a lack of parents, or it's their parents' lack of teaching their children respect. Just in general,
Mm-hmm.
respect. You respect yourself, you respect your family, you respect your peers, and you respect your environment. Like it's not difficult.
Nope.
Like don't shit where you eat, bro. Like, stop throwing stuff. Uh, just there's a place for things in life, okay?
Yeah,
and
there is.
really, it feels like it's so simple, but anyway, let's see what this
And
says
you were
here.
having all these bleaching events with coral reefs because of ocean temperatures
Yeah,
rising, and most of the corals aren't really that used to that kind of temperature, and they get stressed out, and then they
that's
expel.
exactly what's happening. Yeah,
And corals aren't just a singular thing, right?
yeah, it's like a living thing, man. There's so many organisms in them.
Right. The coral it's like 25% coral, and then 75% this organism called zooxanthellae, which is zooxanthellae are photosynthetic organisms that basically feed the coral,
Hmm.
and that's how the coral gets its color.
Oh, okay.
So when the zooxanthellae leave,
They turn
they
brown
die.
and then they turn, yeah,
Then they
gray.
turn white and they die.
Mm-hmm. That's what they actually talk about. It's called Down to Earth. That's what it's called.
Down to earth.
Down to Earth. It's very interesting. You would like it. It actually goes over a lot of that coral stuff too. So
I'm not
it's
a
very
big
educational.
coral fan.
Yeah. Okay.
It's just like very cliche of the marine science people.
Is it really?
I make fun of some of my marine science peers.
Because they're
They're
on
just
board
like,
with the
oh, coral reefs are so cool,
coral.
and I'm like, they're just boring, yo. like, I want to get
I
an
can't
aquarium with
believe you're saying
corals in
this.
there. I want to get corals. I'm like, yeah, they're cool to look at, but just I guess you can obsess over them. Just you can obsess over
Yeah.
them, and I won't even care. I don't care about
Right.
corals. Like a couple of these chicks in
Which
my seminar class, they did presentations over. One of them was stony coral tissue loss disease, and the other one was black banded coral disease.
hmm.
So it's coral, and then there's this coral reefs course that's offered next semester, and it filled up in a heartbeat. You had to go and apply, and all these
Oh.
girls are like, "Oh my gosh, I didn't get in. I was literally." I was like, "Oh my goodness."
Oh
All right.
no, the coral. That's
It's like,
funny.
and then
Now,
one
what's
of
the
my
most
friends came up
interesting
for some
thing?
coral stuff. For me, the most
Yeah, what are you
interesting,
interested in? Yeah.
just fish.
Yeah.
And coral reefs got a lot of fish in it.
Sure.
And some of the times, some of those coral reef fish are really cool. But when you start talking about the coral reefs themselves,
Yeah.
you lost me.
Yeah, yeah.
I can tell you about all of the different things that these coral reef fish, these coral reef fish do and why they do it.
Yeah.
But when you tell me, it's like, why do they live in the coral reefs? I can tell you why I live in the coral reefs. But it's like, what does a coral reef do for them? I don't know. They just
Yeah.
provide a home, and that's it. And the short answer is primary production. And that's basically photosynthesis and nutrients.
Mm-hmm.
How much nutrients, how many
Like
nutrients are in the water?
they're like
And
the
when coral
underwater
reefs,
trees or
yeah,
whatever.
basically.
Mm-hmm.
All the coral reefs are around. There's a lot of nutrients going around,
Yeah.
and they're allowed to thrive. They can thrive, and when they start thriving, the fish come in and they make homes out of them.
Yeah.
The good
Is there
breeding
a
spots
certain
as
is
well.
there a certain fish that you've found out about recently that is really interesting to you? Or do you have a favorite fish from the
I
ocean?
have a favorite. My favorite fish from the ocean has to be the tarpon, the silver king. I'm sure you've heard of those.
Yep.
Inshore game fish. That is one of my bucket list fish, and I am dying to catch one.
No, that's the swordfish, right? The
Nope.
big spear on their nose? No?
The tarpon is okay. I'm gonna show you a picture. They are so cool, and they are
Because I've
so
seen
big.
I follow along these fishing Instagram pages, and
They're
I know
so
I've seen
big,
tarpons,
so
but I
big.
thought it was the one with the
Look here.
swordfish.
Look here. These
Oh yeah,
are
right.
tarpon.
Oh, this is why I've seen them on here because they're such a good, they're such a strong fight when they
Oh yeah,
reel them in. Right.
and they do their tail walk.
God, they're huge.
They are giant. The
Oh my
Silver
God.
Kings.
Okay.
So you got the tarpon's my favorite fish, but then
That's wild. Okay.
there's a whole. I mean, there's so many fish to catch, man. I grew up
Oh yeah.
catching largemouth. I can catch largemouth all day. I catch snook all day, redfish, speckled trout, silver trout. I catch a lot of fish in the ocean, but
Yeah.
I mean, there's still a lot more fish in the ocean for me to catch for them to beat the tarpon in my number one spot.
Mm,
But that's all, that's my leisure activity that I like to do, and I
for
don't do
sure.
enough of it.
Yeah. Well, you got a lot going on right now.
Well, yeah, but funny enough, funny you mention that, I got a fishing trip that's actually booked next week. So one of my basically, I don't even know, like one of my mentor's husbands. He invited me to go on a fishing trip with a bunch of business people to talk about business stuff, I guess.
That's good.
So get to see on that.
Good.
Can't wait to go there and see what's going on.
Okay.
And then you spoke about me getting residual income and building that up. I actually just started a business with a global health food company called Juice Plus
Nice.
that basically build their business, like I build my business around. They don't even call it residual income anymore. They call it reliable income.
Gotcha.
So it's this pill, like these fruits and vegetables.
Yeah.
Like when I was telling you my diet earlier,
Right.
I don't have any. I don't eat fruits and vegetables. I'm not that kind of healthy person. Not
Right.
even
You'd have to take
broccoli
supplements.
not even broccoli and the chicken and rice. In this company, my mom is a doctor.
Okay.
My mom is a pediatric nurse practitioner, and she like found this company, and she started like a business with them, and she started selling their
Okay.
stuff. And she was like, "You need to get your fruits and vegetables. I don't see any fruits and vegetables in your diet." And I was like, pushing her off for a little bit. I was like, "No,
Sure.
stop it, mom. You're just doing your little doctor stuff." And then, long story short, when I was moving into my old house, she brought me the supplements. She was like, "Take
Yeah.
these." And then it was like little pills, little Juice Plus, little berry pills, little vegetable pills, and
Yeah.
just like all that, you get all your fruits and vegetables in this one little pill. And I was like, you know what? Why not? I didn't want to take the pill at first, so I took the pill like it's like a clear capsule. Took it apart and dumped the vegetable and fruit powder in my protein shake.
Oh,
Worst decision I've ever made in my life.
really?
It's that trash. So I just stuck to the pills, and I take all.
That's funny.
They make a berry version, so they make berry. They got dried berry powder and put it in a capsule. So I'm taking
Yeah.
those, and I take them all, and I started taking taking these little supplements every morning, and I've felt great. Started feeling
Yeah. You feel
great.
amazing. Yeah.
Feeling great, and I don't know. It was a different feeling that I was feeling, and apparently it's helped so many other people. So why not? And then recently, my mom dragged told me to start a business, and she helped me sign up and all that stuff, and
Good.
she dragged me out to North Carolina for this convention for Juice Plus convention. And then
Yeah.
I was kind of on the fence,
Okay.
and then I just went there and kind of felt the energy, and like there's apparently like this, you're on a team with
Yep.
this, and like you kind of all help each other. And like I'm on a team, like I got lucky. I'm on a team with like a whole bunch of like very, very, very successful people.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh shit. So
That's good,
like,
man.
I'm now that I'm always told that the business is all about going out and talking to people. That's my
Yep.
job.
Yeah.
So
Networking.
that's why I'm
Learning
doing what
how
I'm
to.
doing now. Learn how to talk to people.
Yeah.
Learn how to
Good.
speak.
Yeah. Good.
And it's cool.
Well, that's great, man. Yeah, most people we don't what is it, 90, I think we're supposed to have 90 minerals and vitamins and minerals and
Right.
stuff every day in our body. We don't get if you eat a normal American diet,
It's not, you ain't getting
you
none
won't
of
get
that.
n- you won't get hardly any of that. In fact, you'll get barely maybe a fourth, and then you'll get a bunch of pesticides and dyes that
Right.
are petroleum based that are killing the inside of your body.
Mm-hmm.
And like even people that buy the, when you go to the grocery store now, you get the if you get regular fruits and vegetables from the produce section, majority of them are just trash. There's very little nutritional content in them compared to if you grow your own,
Mm-hmm.
and they have all the pesticides on them. So my wife and I try to get the local farm stuff that we know. They don't spray the stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, man. We're in wintertime now, going into wintertime, but we'll be
Right.
having a garden next year in the spring that we're going to
Oh,
start with
nice.
all of the. We have the room in the back. We have an acre lot here,
Mm-hmm.
and it's
Juice Plus sells
private.
tower gardens. They
Ooh,
do tower
okay.
gardens, dude.
Send
And
me
that
a
was
link,
like,
dude.
yeah, for sure, dude.
Okay.
They got. I can send you the link. They got these when I went to this convention.
Yeah.
Like they had the whole setup, and it's like,
They have the lights and everything,
uh
like where you
huh,
can start out inside
yeah,
and,
and you can.
and
It's
okay.
inside,
Yeah, yeah.
and I was like,
Because
oh
that's what I was
shoot,
looking at. I was just looking at those.
yeah, I can
Yep.
literally get you set up with one of those for sure.
Okay.
I'll send
Okay.
you the link with that.
That'd be cool.
That's funny you mentioned that because tower
Yep.
gardens are like the new thing or
Oh,
something.
dude, for sure. Especially like right now, not only that, our soil here is terrible for growing stuff. Like you really have
Right.
to cultivate it over years if you want to make, because it's sand and clay. It's red clay and sand here in
Oh
South
yeah.
Carolina, this part of South Carolina. And we actually tried a garden back here a few years ago, and me and my sons, we started tilling up the yard in the back,
Mhm.
and I think this part of this property was a junkyard, because I'm not kidding, bro. I have pictures and videos. We pulled big steel chains out of the ground, like random stuff, a set of high school metal lockers,
Mhm.
a set of four were stuck in the ground behind my shed, like 8 feet down. Okay, like we saw that the tip was sticking up.
Oh my
We're in the
god.
and we kept digging and digging, and I'm like, oh my god, there's batteries, like stuff that is horrible for the environment.
Yeah, your
So
soil's done, man.
I'm like, because we tried planting potatoes back here. Potatoes grow really easily. So do onions. They wouldn't grow. And I'm like, why do they look like this? And anyway, we started digging in there, and the soil is just ruined back here. I've got to do like a raised garden. It's really sad. So
Yeah, that's
I
terrible.
want to do a raised garden. I want to build a raised garden back there. I have the room for it. It's pretty easy to build, and just have to start getting potting soil,
Mhm.
clean soil. And but I would love to start out in here with something, small,
Let's
so
try
I
it
can
out.
start them out inside and then put them outside in
Take them.
the. Yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah. Yeah, I really, this is something that we have a year-long goal right now, my wife and I, where we want to be with vegetables and fruits, be self-sustained with our own
With your
supply.
own stuff. Right.
Yeah, I would love to do avocados, man, because we love avocados, honey. I already have a connection with the honey,
The
natural
honey
honey
guys. Yep.
stuff. Yeah, yeah. So anyway,
That's
yeah,
sick, man.
yeah. I got to get healthy, man. It's been quite a few years since I was paralyzed. I still have residual, um, negative stuff with my nerve endings and stuff from that. And
Mhm.
I know there's a way to get over that stuff. Alcohol, man, my guts have been cleared up for the
That's good.
past month and a half, which I never had before, because I was always putting that poison in them.
Mhm.
So anyway, yeah, I'm excited about it. It's
Well,
cool.
that's
I'm glad you're
good.
doing that, man. Yeah,
It's sick, man. Yeah, I'm
that's
just.
good.
It's all the fundamental is just basically like you're helping other people, and you're getting paid
100%.
to live a healthy lifestyle and help others. And I was like, all right, cool.
Yeah,
I'm all for that. I like helping people. Like,
absolutely. Yeah, if you wanna make it in business, you figure out how to help. When you help as many, you help more people, then it helps you. Like it's that way. That's pretty much most businesses.
hmm
Yeah. Dude, it's been great talking with you, man.
Oh yeah, we
I
time
know you
flying,
got to
man.
go. You got to go eat and
Gonna go eat and go to sleep, and then wake up at 5 a.m. and then repeat.
repeat, buddy. Yes, awesome,
Yes,
man. Well,
sir.
what do you got? As far as your airsoft team, you're in the postseason. Are you guys looking to recruit or rebuild any parts of your team? Are you, if
We're
there
thinking
is
about it.
somebody in your area, okay? How would they get in touch with you if they really want to make that next step to tournament play?
If you want to
Tournaments.
get involved into competitive airsoft, or potentially if if you show out, potentially pick up a spot on the team if we do tryouts. Very unlikely, but you never know. You can reach me at SpeedSoft League on Instagram and YouTube, and the Obey Instagram account is obey.airsoft. And if you're interested in playing airsoft and you're in the Tampa area, be sure to check out CIA Tampa at 6404 East Columbus Drive, and their Instagram handle is Competitive Indoor Airsoft or CIA Tampa.
Well, listen, bro, it's been great talking with you. Good luck with all your studies and your schooling and your
Mm-hmm.
business. I guess
Thank
not good
you.
luck. It's Godspeed or
Godspeed.
yeah,
Yep.
man.
Thank you for having me.
See you, brother.